are tired or what?
No. But I mean, people, there was so much really great partying yesterday. Thank you very much.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And welcome to the second day of our AGORA final conference. Considering the time some of you arrived today, we believe that you had quite a rough night. So we promise we will be very efficient today because we don't want to prolong the schedule and so that you can have time also for rest, but also time to enjoy our city for the few hours that you still have left to be here. So if yesterday we went through the experience of each city, we want today to focus more on how to improve the participatory approach and participatory governance. And that is why we will start the day with the final capacity building seminar. And here I want to introduce Nora, that is with us from the online, and of course Hannah, which is here physically. On the second part, we will have a round table with our local stakeholders. We do have some partners that have experience in participatory approach, and we invited them to share their experience so that we can all learn from each other, of course, depending on the local characteristics of our city. But we hope their experience will inspire you and you can use all the information you will gather today in your further experience with your own stakeholders. And of course, we invite you to be proactive and to engage in the discussions so we can all learn more about collaboration. After that, we will have lunch, and of course, we will try to fit all the schedule until noon. So after that, you can have your free time. Like yesterday. We are great you enjoyed, and we promise that if we will implement together Agora 2.0, we will make even a nicer experience. And for those of you who will stay this night, from 6 p.m. we will have a carol concert on the Iris district where we have having our Christmas market. So you can keep in touch with Liviu, and if some of you want to go there, we would like you to do that. Okay, so Hannah, please take the floor.
I will say a couple of words before passing the word to Nora, who's supporting us from home. So this is the last capacity building seminar. We would need your participation, but we did not send you prior questions. Nevertheless, we do need your brains and your activity. It's 90 minutes. And the first half hour will be done by Nora, who will focus on basically outlining the main learnings from the outcome assessment that she has written. And based on, please try to pay attention. I know it's the second day and it's always difficult, but please do your best. And then we will move backwards with 3 questions that we prepared and Nora will show you, and then we will discuss that in groups. We created a theoretical division of you, but I think quite a lot of you are not here right now, so we probably will be not as strict about that. So this 30-minute discussion then will be followed by listening to your answers, and that's how the seminar is structured, and we will be as flexible as possible because actually the whole aim is to, build our capacities and think about questions that actually interest us regarding participation. So Nora, the word is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a bit of an oxymoron to talk about participation while not being there in person, as most of you are. So a very good morning to everybody. I heard it was a wonderful evening you had yesterday. So let's start working a little. Because you did a lot of work and you invested a lot of energy into producing those urban recommendation agendas based on which I'd like to inspire you to get and engage in the discussions a bit later on. So there is a brief presentation, and if you allow, I will share my screen now. I hope it works.
It's perfect.
It's getting there, yes. Wonderful. Right. So I hope I will press the good button now at the right one.
It's
Yes, yeah, because I can also follow that you can see. So I'm very happy to be with you, and it was lovely to join the group, also virtually in Prague. And it's really a pleasure that you will have the opportunity to also to go to East, to the district, which is one of the most inspiring examples within the AGORA project, for many reasons, to which I think we will come into discussion anyway. So first I'm going to summarize the assessment report findings, and then as Hanna was putting it forward, we really count on you to engage in team discussions based on 3 key questions that we found most relevant based on the URA process, and then we will encourage you to do the presentations of your findings within those teams, and then we can work up together and do this very quickly by the end today. As you know, in Prague, I think I did mention that the working method for the URA analysis was documenting. So we were basically working through your report to understand what have been the challenges, what could be the added value of such a planning process. But then we also went to talk to the Sofia team, who were organizing peer support for you, among you, but also supporting you through the whole process of producing these agendas. And they shared a lot of interesting information also about how such an external player can be part of a local planning process, and how it can not just support but also challenge you in many ways to change a little bit the way of working or engage in the new activities and then build on these activities during work with the local communities. It was not an easy task for them, and it was an even more difficult task for most of the partners because of very many constraints, which we also acknowledge in this assessment report. So what's the lessons? This is what we're here for. I think that AGORA had a nice setting to design to make it easy, you know? So why this URA process can be interesting and relevant. And it claimed, and this task, this work package claimed that the URA can serve as support documentation, a tool for strengthening participatory approach, a best practice for co-creation process, but also at the same time serve as an expert study containing a lot of information that can be useful for additional planning processes and prescribed planning procedures in your countries. Nevertheless, it also contains a lot of information regarding financial tools that are needed to implement the pilots, and also sort of a skeleton to show how programming within your municipal maneuver rooms can be best served by such documentation. And of course, last but not least, the URA should serve as an inspiration for applying similar development strategies, not just in the topic of urban development, but of course inclusion or various other spheres of your municipal development agendas. And then we went through this list because we wanted to understand, okay, does this work? Did this play out? Was it useful in these tasks, in these functions that Sophie anticipated that it will be? And then we had to conclude that in various ways it was, but in others it was less there because of the local national planning context. These functions were already fulfilled by other strategies. But in some cases it did work out, and it did add momentum to putting forward those investment priorities, those pilots that you were thinking about to really get to make the next steps with them. But to go into details, there are many topics within the
target areas, and they show the city context, highlight the strategic framework within which you want to deal with urban regeneration, and specifically with these areas that you delineate within the document. And there were also a couple of questions regarding who is going to do this, what's going to be the governance design of this regeneration process. There was a specific chapter monitoring and evaluation frameworks, which actually on the long term play a vital role. Me coming from the field of evaluation and monitoring, oftentimes we face that these questions are not addressed to the depth that it is useful to then provide feedback for future planning. And it was, I think, a couple of very interesting attempts on your side that can be really fruitful also among us as partners to understand what's working in the field and what's a challenge. And at the end, I'm also going to highlight those findings that you share within the URA context, what measures cities anticipate to ensure sustainability of the interventions, of the pilot interventions. So it's a broad field and it's a comprehensive document, it's a comprehensive approach to urban regeneration development and thinking about how to plan for longer term. And what's needed, what is established, what is a legitimate development need. So, and then, of course, which was at the core of Agora, it was a useful tool for testing new participatory way of programming. And this participatory way was basically serving, to our understanding from the URAs, managing expectations. And not just expectation, but also conflicts that may arise. So the core added value of these events, co-creation events, or just workshops, however you want to name them, was actually having the opportunity to articulate and then to manage conflicts and expectations. And then after all this, so as sort of a third stage of usefulness, is that in some cases, we could really see that there are milestones that people, stakeholders in the co-creation process could arrive to. And these milestones were, for example, defining the target areas and then coming to the actual goals, how actually, what actions should be supporting these goals within these target areas, and then to think, okay, who should be doing what? So sharing responsibilities, assigning tasks, and looking for funding. So these milestones were, in some cases, showcasing that this co-creation process can be come to such technical results. So let's be aware that these can be useful also. So open the floor to these additional stakeholders, look beyond your administrative capacity, include them, and still you can come to these milestones. It's a difficult task, but it can be done. So we were also looking into the management plans. Most of them were under formation because the pilots were under formation. But still, where they were there were a lot of more details about monitoring and evaluation plans with lists of outputs. But in some other cases, there were no detailed definitions of the components and the stages of pilot activities. So you could see it's really under formation. It's still not there to have all these detailed plans where, for example, me as an evaluator could come in and say, okay, now I can see where you want to arrive to. And linked with this, there was mostly very little information about measurable outcomes and indicators. It was a very difficult task. There were various different levels of indicators you were suggested to use. And I think it shows how difficult this stage of the planning process is. And we've been witnessing with this also when we are exploring, for example, the usage of EU funds. Most of these pilots will in any way be connected, not just to local budgets, but also to external funding issues. Regarding sustainability, we were looking for components that you identified as guarantees. So what should serve the sustainability of the URA? And we thought that what most of you indicated as the URA as a planning process and the pilot as an actual investment should be incorporated into the local strategic and planning framework. So you wanna establish a clear link between the two, because otherwise it will be like this sort of a satellite activity or a satellite document that is not very useful at the end. More interestingly, I think, and I think this shows how the Agora process could press buttons that were not yet there before our common work, is that if there is a continuity of local community support, then there will be a pressure, an ongoing pressure to use the URA further. So this will make you more accountable towards your constituents and the civil society. And beyond just finding the position of the URA as a planning document, in some cases, the sustainability was named to be ensured, basically giving a legal status to the URA within the mainstream development documents system. Which clearly shows again, so if there is an established link, then you will look for making this link also work and also check whether things included here will be implemented in the future. but this is a process, and we are quite aware that we are still within the process. And obviously, the pilot will, if it is implemented, it is thought to be one stage of a longer term development process. So the URA itself steps in, serves an intensive phase of planning and launch of an implementation, and it boosts, it gives the momentum. And I think it was in most of your documents quite a considerable piece of statement. And now, so this is what we learned from you, and we have a couple of more questions, just to a little bit make a choreography for discussion. And Hannah, if you allow, I will now give you the word, because this is what we found most interesting from reading and discussing and listening to in the Prague workshop.
So much, Nora, for this very, very detailed and thorough overview. And now I'm turning to the participants. So Nora, luckily, will be with us all the way through. As she mentioned, we came up with 3 questions. So this will be the part where we'll ask you to grab your chairs, actually. I will say you what to do before that, but don't forget to grab your chairs after that. And we would, I think, we will move to the back part of the room, and we would like you to work in groups, in 3 groups. That was ideally. And if I look at your numbers, I think that's still okay. However, I mean, with Nora, we came up with a division which we found the best, which might not work as not everyone is here now. So let's take that one flexibly. I will also distribute the questions in a printed version, but you can see there are questions A, B, and C, which would be, and answering them would be to please rely on your experience, on what Nora was saying, and an experience of the others. So we think they are very interesting and controversial questions, and we really want to hear your opinion. We think these come up regularly in planning processes. So question A would focus on the generation of public vision and needs versus room for maneuvering on the local level. So this is basically, there's always tension of what you can do locally and what's feasible, and at the same time to have an overarching vision. We do think that this happens quite a lot in planning. The second one is the reconciliation of conflicting interests of stakeholders. This is point 0 of any participatory process. I think you all have been faced with this one. The third one is about feasibility and sustainability. So what do you do after AGORA? This is very tricky, I think, for all project supported intervention, how to build up a solid institutional supports beyond the projects themselves. So these will be, the task will be to discuss all 3. Nevertheless, we actually came up, but when the reporting comes, we would like you to only report back on 1 question, because then otherwise we just run out of time. So I will now, if you look at the way we divided, so group 1 should be Chisinau, Sarvas, Zanika, and so we put Sofia there, but because they are not here, they are unlikely to be. We were not sure back whether they could join online this discussion. The second group would be Slavonski Brod, Prague, and the German team, and the third one would be Cluj, Koprivnica, and Krain. For each of you, we definitely want the scientific partners to get engaged. Please. So this is not free time for you yet, and I actually have a very specific question for Utopian, as you are 3 present here. Please don't group, but divide yourselves. Each one of you could go and help facilitate one table. I think, and then we would see we're running a bit late. I'm not sure, Livia, I'm looking at you, whether it's still okay. I know we started late. Okay. I suggest you have a 20-minute discussion, okay? And then focus, we will go back there and then tell you which question to focus on. Please, there are tables there, but no chairs, so this is the moment to grab your chair, and please move, if possible, according to plan, then we'll do adjustments, okay? I mean, it's also the possibilities, leave you suggestion just to simply stand, if that's, you find. Then just don't grab your chair, just grab your butt, I don't know, and move there, so, please, okay? I'm gonna...
And maybe grab a pen.
Yes, please, thank you, Nora. Grab a pen and a paper. And I'm also distributing the papers now, so please come. Okay? Please join me in the back of the... Thank you. You don't have the chair. Yeah, perfectly right. Thank you. Okay, I'm putting the questions here. Please come. Okay? Try to... They're printed out there. They are there and I have an extra. Okay, please come. Yes. Hello, it's wonderful to see you.
Should we tell them where?
Yeah, I mean, there, see, yeah, that's good. Okay, so that should be... Okay, this is... Please do whatever you want. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, okay? So this would be 3. Please come. Mirza is at Group 1. And then Group 2 is, you can see Natalie and Jorge. Germany is Anita and yeah? Please come. Okay? So Group 1 would be Chisinau, Sarvas, Zenikas. Group 2, in the middle, would be Slavonski Brod, Prague, and the German team. And Group 3, Cluj, Koprivnica. It's there. Okay? Please. So for you, as Group 1, we thought that you could focus really on the second question. Is it okay with you? Yeah? Okay. Then please do it, okay? I will be back, but Donnie, I trust you. So, okay? Okay? So this is what you would report, okay? Group 2, we figured that you could focus on the feasibility and sustainability, if that's okay? Okay? This would be then your question. And if I'm here, this is Group 1. No, this is Group 3. Yes, and then we figured this would be generation of public visions and needs versus room for maneuvering. If that's okay, this would be good for you as a question to focus on. This is basic. It's very getting loud here.
It's hard to hear you.
Yeah, but Nora is online. This is why I don't think she'll be able to hear us. No, but she won't be able to hear all the discussions. So basically what we are completing now is especially when you're working a large area, then sometimes you need a vision. You need a large scale and detailed vision. Nevertheless, that's often conflicting interests with what you can do locally and how you maneuver locally and in small things. So that would be generally the idea. But if it's not very, if you think you cannot really relate to them, then
would say it is.
But you mean how to see the need of the public or the neighborhood or the space?
No, actually the idea behind was how to
Older
sometimes I think visions, especially for example city level visions, are conflict of interest, what you can do locally or what's possible locally, what you should do locally. So you actually need some room for maneuvering for that. That was one idea. And the second was that what you can do, so on a local level you need quite a lot of flexibility, I think, to realize things, which are often, this room for maneuvering is often reduced by your grand vision or your very strategic vision that you're moving towards. This is what
If I understand you, we have in that Svilovska street, we have a music school, we have synagogue, we have a residential part, we have a park, we have a parking space. So, and all of them, they have some need.
a bit.
They want to have like a cultural part where there will be exhibitions or some events, yeah?
Yeah, but
Like this?
you're referring to the second question.
Yeah, that would be the second question. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the second.
the first question would be really more of a planning type of question. Whether what you need locally is often. I would not say
Like a
against
special
Strategy.
strategy. So sometimes grand strategies
Yeah.
actually are very hard to apply locally.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the easiest way I can say.
Yeah,
So
national strategy.
No, I mean your local.
We have locally, for example, the integrated strategy for urban development. It's called like that, and it has urban regeneration, it has culture, it has everything. And there were groups of people that worked and put it together, but together it doesn't make any sense. But on chapters, it makes sense.
Yeah, and also I think locally sometimes maybe the grand vision is not supported by what you need to do locally to satisfy the needs of the Iris district.
Yes, exactly, because the groups of people who worked to do this, they had the same, how to call it, the same target group of people that they spoke to.
Yeah, but
So,
I think it's a good point actually.
yeah, so the needs are not the same for everyone.
Yeah, and probably so basically, whereas this question number 2 is about local conflicts, this is about the conflict about the local level, the very local level, or the bottom up level, and the bit of the city level. So this is whereas the previous one is I don't use this amount. This is vertical, and this is horizontal. Yeah, so the conflict is where this is. So this is a different kind of conflict. So how you reconcile is it something you can make?
So basically, question 1 is vertical and question 2 is horizontal. Okay, no problem.
And we also, what we have is special.
What?
Do you use a paper to take notes?
Просто на план. Spatial plan.
Maybe I could leave one.
Spatial. Right on the phone notes.
Та е хоризонтална, а те е вертикална.
This is a difficult.
So if I can I put my example for the first question, if I understood it. So in our example, we had 4 workshops where stakeholders had their vision, what they wanted to do in our pilot project in Svilovska State. And now it's all about if city with its strategies can adopt
Yes, that's it.
those visions there,
Yeah.
which one have to be filtered out because of them. Yeah, okay. Now I understand.
Not about the existing documents.
Yeah, basically, it's like whether you can local needs can be very different, actually, from the general city needs. I think this is I have favorite examples
So, for example, we have conflict, like the integrated strategy says something, but our urban regeneration agenda with other focus groups found something else. So, what do we take into consideration? Because the strategy is already, the local council voted for it, it is approved. But right now we found out that these pop-up activations work very, very well. But that site in the Iris district is already approved in the strategy to be made something different there. So what do we do? Can we change what is already approved? We cannot.
These are conflicts. And this is something that would be very interesting to see, whether there is a solution or whether there are different types of solutions, whether it's also interesting. I mean, the questions came up. Nora, before you did a very, very good analysis of the URAs, and these questions came out of that. So this is, these are things we actually face in the process of working with the people. And I would be really curious. I mean, the whole point is just to talk about these things even, and then it would be interesting to see if you have any solution for that. Because there's very little solution. It's very. I'll be back in a second. I'll check on the other rules. But is it okay for you to now? You can start?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is the heritage outside. The appearance should not be changed too
Okay.
much.
Okay.
Where's
perfect.
Sharbash? Where are your Hungarians? Sharbash. Hungarians are not here.
They had to leave. Sorry.
Oh,
That's them.
okay.
Yeah. Imagine. I'll be back. Do you need a paper or something so to report back? You manage. Let me know if you need, because then I just leave you my. Here. Okay. Do you need a paper or anything, or do you need any help, or you're perfectly fine now?
We are perfectly fine.
That's good. That's fantastic to hear. That's the best news. Music to my ears. Okay. Okay. So please come back. And I would need one rapporteur from each group. Please come to the front. Yeah. Okay. I'm still missing quite a lot of people, and I'm still missing 2 rapporteurs. So, it's you? No? Okay, thank you. We love volunteers. Thank you. Okay. And one more happy volunteer. Yes, please. You can form large groups here. Please come. Please come, take a seat, okay? That's perfect. Okay. Thank you for... No, I'm so happy standing, I can't tell you. So Nora is also back. So I think we are slowly coming to the... Thank you very much. To the end phase of our third and very last capacity building seminar. What we will do is I will pass the word to each representative, each rapporteur, to basically report back their main findings. And I hope you all understand that the point was the discussion, not to come up with the ultimate solution. That will come in Agora too. Liviu, if you, please, I know we gave you focus questions, but I know that Liviu's group was actually trying to answer all 3, so that was also an option. Okay, go ahead.
So I will be speaking for Koprivnica, Kranj and Cluj. So in 2 minutes we go through all the 3 questions because we found out that actually even the problems we are facing are quite the same. So for the generation of public vision and needs versus room for maneuvering on the local level, we found out that all the 3 cities in this case have several planning and spatial planning strategies or plans that are going on. And also there's some problems sometimes with the vision versus the actual needs at the local level. In the case of reconciliation of conflicting interests of stakeholders, we found out that a good example from all the cities is the fact that sometimes when you have a private investor that wants to do something big in the city, the city hall has some limitation or some requests to those in order to integrate better. So, for example, the investor needs to foresee in the planning of the new buildings, parking lots, kindergartens, and so on. So they have the freedom of doing something, but they need to limit themselves in the needs that are put there by the city hall. And in terms of feasibility and sustainability, due to the fact that our activations were quite the same, the general conclusion is that most of these pop-up activities are in reality quite feasible and quite desirable by the local communities. However, they are not so sustainable because in most of the cases you cannot generate profit or you cannot generate a private party that would be interested to go on and on and on with these kinds of events. For example, the synagogue that has been open works very well as a pop-up activity, but however, on the long term, it would perhaps lose the interest of the people after everyone had the chance to go there and experiment what has been done. So this is the case for all kinds of pop-up activities, and this is the case for all our cities. So the conclusion is these kinds of activities are feasible, but are not that so sustainable. So this would be it.
Thank you so much. Now, Victor, that's your turn.
Hi, everyone. They made me do it. So we were discussing mainly the second question, so the reconciliation of conflicting interests of stakeholders, since apparently Amra and Mirza didn't really have any problems, or they solved them very quickly. I got an actual masterclass in this. In Chisinau, we did have problems concerning the fact that the NGOs went very open and they didn't really want to come to the workshop. So I was telling the guys that we found a workaround. We basically hired someone for an image transfer. We hired a company that's good with creatives. They have their own space, their own moderators. So we just hired them to moderate our events. So the biggest workshops and the public consultations, we hired them to be our voice. So the NGOs came to a cool event that was organized by the town hall, but it was projected as an event of the creative industries. Also, what we found out is that people are more open when they know what's going on. So there's a lot of explaining, there's a lot of giving information and explaining to everyone how the project is going to work and being transparent. And the last but not the least method would be the interpersonal connections. Because if someone, as Amra said, if someone is not going to come for the town hall, they might just come because they're your friend, your acquaintance, or they have a high opinion of you. So it's a lot of work, but with time and patience, apparently, you can figure it out.
Thank you so much. And I remember from your documents the difficulties you already mentioned, and that's interesting. How that this tension between the NGO sector and the town hall, and the local municipality. So, but it seems that you found actually a very good solution to overcome that.
It's working. That's good.
Okay. Okay. The last but not least, a team. Jorge and Andrada.
Okay. So. Yeah, I was appointed. Well, big responsibility. Of course, we are talking about the experience of Neckar-Alb region, Prague 9, and Slavonski Brod. Okay, very different scales. A region, and they work in Agora with three cities. Slavonski Brod, as said yesterday, it's a small city in Croatia, and then Prague 9, which is a district. Like, it's really diverse. But all of them shared Agora as a setting the ground for the future. So we focus on the third question, and after the discussion, I had an image to my mind, Andrada. It's like the whole development of a community and management of these spaces is like when you prepare the ground for some plans to come. No, so Agora is really put some seeds there, and so the working structure, for example, of the Neckar-Alb region, with the fact that they have an overview of the brownfields, is very similar to what Agora was aiming to do in this time of the project, and the fact that they have a contact person between the different industries with the municipality and the region there is very important. So this resembles a lot the work that has been done during the Agora project. So this is the thing all of the three partners agreed on, that for the feasibility and sustainability of the project, what is very important is that co-management structure that has been developed in Agora. And on this, maybe Andrada wanted to add something more.
So regarding the feasibility and the sustainability of the Agora initiative after the project ends,
So in the case of Prague 9, there is also like the harmonization with strategic documents at local level. So this was also something that we were discussing yesterday, that it is important to have this normative, if you want, base on which to articulate this initiative. And in the case of Neckar-Alb, yes, that is very important that they have a previous projects in which they mapped out all the brownfields. So they have an overview regarding this. In the case of Slavonski Brod, yes, we were discussing about the co-management part because the fortress is owned by the municipality. They are thinking about engaging a separate body that would only manage the fortress. So they have basically an appointed team or NGO or foundation or association that would only deal with this matter and take it from the municipality's hands. So these would be the main ideas.
Can I have one question back? It's
Yes.
Just, so in all cases, what's important that AGORA initiated a process that was actually taken up by the public authority, and after the project finishes, the authority is willing to finance this and willing to have the structures in place.
The authority's willingness to...
Yeah, so whether it's, that's where I understand it, because that's, I think, the crucial question. We know when something's financed by a project, then what happens? There's always a certain amount of pressure through the project. What happens when that ceases?
I think that raised up is engaging a local community and keeping their interest in the future projects and in developing the project and keeping that local community, securing that local community.
As I understood, like in the case of Prague 9, for example, and the Neckar region, this is very clear. Like they are willing to continue the process. And in Slavonski Brod is a bit more difficult because there are many. It's a small city, but still there are very different interests, and there are very conflicting points of view, also from the political side, as far as I know. We have been talking about this with Anita.
Then thank you so much. I want to turn to Nora, because she was the one, keeping the brilliant presentation, whether you have some last words. But you're muted. So.
I have to unmute myself, yes, exactly. So thank you. I have the impression that as I was sitting with you there, so thank you so much for the technical parameters offered to me. So, I see you both from the back, from the front, and it seems as if I was sitting among the audience now. So it's just wonderful. So thank you so much, Liviu, for putting all this together for me. I think you really pointed out some very key issues, and thanks, Hanna, for asking back for this sustainability issue. Given that there was one thing that I think, Roger, you also mentioned, is that what level of distrust from the community has to be addressed before all this planning is being launched. No? So you really had to figure out a method how to address this lack of communication, lack of information in various ways about the mechanisms, about the scope, what such development procedures are capable to address, and how this mismatch of information can be this gap by the mismatch of information can be bridged by a more participatory, let's call it co-creative process of planning. So it was at the same time very important to say what in the first group, what we really wanted to prompt, that it came out really clearly that there is a strategic framework, there are planning documents, there are already incoherences across these documents, and which one has the momentum to be put forward, that depends very much on the actual political constellation, on the timing, on the budgetary constraints, and so on and so forth.
And these pop-up events that you think could make it visible to the local community that this is a tool that we can offer you and we can let you work with us, that still this is even a constrained solution, how these little niches within the planning system and across these documents and political pressures can make it visible what the needs actually are. So thank you so much for putting this into the room, because whereas we thought that this is the least risky investment, it is a risky investment in this sense as well. No, it shows the inadequacy of how specific development challenges have been addressed, what is in the documents, what is sustainable, what is conceived as a long-term goal of the local visions. And regarding the Chisinau case, and thanks for highlighting this image transfer issue, it's a wonderful wording of rebranding, no, of the challenge. And I think it's a very useful tool, and we witnessed this in Budapest, and Hanna knows a lot about that urban regeneration project. This was actually one of the first ones that we've been following very closely in the Hungarian context. It was a whole rebranding of a district, a part of a district, so that it can be put on the agenda within the capital city context, within the public perception, within the investments, a portfolio that may be relevant for that part, and so on and so forth. So rebranding of the issue, rebranding of the position of the municipality, to engage in discussions, that is also a very useful tool. And I think many of us in the room would be keen to learn how you could basically do that. I think it would be also interesting for Sofia, and maybe you can stay in touch, to talk about this. Okay, I think that would be from my side. I admire you for all your contributions, and thank you so much. And have a lovely day. No.
Thank you so much, Nora, for for being with us from home and for all the work. I think now we can officially close the third capacity building seminar, and we need to wait for Agora 2 to win to have a fourth one. So some motivations for you to help with the proposal writing process. Okay, thank you so much, and I'm going to pass the word to Liviu right now, and the next program point is coming.
Yeah, so thanks, Hannah, for the last capacity building seminar. Right now, as you can see on the agenda, we are going directly to the last point. So we invited some of our local stakeholders because, as you knew from the project, besides the cheek and the participatory budgeting that we presented during Agora, in Cluj-Napoca we have quite a few other participatory approaches, and we have two of the people that implement them well and can share them with you. Because why not? Some of the best practices from these projects and from these programs could be implemented in your cities. So Tudor, Andras, please. Okay, so they are now at the interview. So, first of all, as you have seen yesterday, our director, Călin Forna, mentioned that Cluj-Napoca has been in 2015 the European Youth Capital. From then on and until then, there have been a lot of developments in the youth sector, and there have been quite a few participatory approaches designed for youth people and for the entire community. So please, Andras, tell us a little bit about the program that led to the 2015 capital, and then about some of your insights about Common Cluj, because our colleagues already know about participatory budgeting.
Hello, thank you for having me. Very shortly, because I could speak 3 hours, but this is not the purpose here. So I'm working with an organization which is called Pond Group. It is an NGO which was created in 2009. And back in 2012, we came with the idea towards the municipality to apply for the European Youth Capital title. This is a title which is given by the European Youth Forum. This is the biggest European network of youth organizations and youth representatives from Europe. They are organizing every year a competition to nominate one city which becomes European Youth Capital. It's an application process, so it's not an award for already achieved results. It is also about that, but it is about a concept which the city or the applicant cities are putting forward towards the jury in what they would like to change regarding youth in their cities. So we applied together with the municipality and with the Youth Federation, which already had some elements of its origins within the city, especially student organizations. And the process was successful. So basically, during 2012, we entered the finals. We were 12 cities in the competition. And then we won the title. And I just want to tell this because at the beginning, we were considered a little bit like these, I wouldn't say crazy guys, but these guys who might have something in their minds. But, you know, with municipalities, they need to be reluctant a little bit at the beginning because they didn't really know who we are, what we did in the past. But because of this process, a lot of trust was created between the youth sector and the municipality, between other organizations and experts. So in 2013, when we already got the title for 2015, so we were in the preparation process, we came back to the municipality, and the municipality was already considering general participatory budgeting in one of the neighborhoods in Mănăștur. We came back telling them, okay, it might be a good idea maybe to try a youth version of the participatory budgeting, which is much smaller in scale, which is not about investments, but is about providing a chance and the funding opportunity for informal groups of young people, so not young people from organizations necessarily, but other young people who are in the city and who we believed they have potential and they are willing to do things for the city. And we wanted to convince the municipality to provide funding in 2015 during the Youth Capital year, if before that we managed to get a lot of resources from other sources to organize the whole process. So they said it's okay. We applied for EEA grants, or basically Norwegian, Icelandic and Liechtenstein funding. And we got a project which was for creating the mechanism, where also the municipality got as a small partner. And because we delivered on our promise on our side for the process, the municipality, yes, they would commit more than, back then it was more than 100,000 euro to support these small-scale initiatives. And because I don't want to prolong it very much, I would just like to summarize the basic idea. It is called Common Cluj because we decided that we couldn't go towards the young people saying, get involved in the participatory budgeting process for young people. It's like, stop, we don't understand, we don't want, we don't like. So we needed to come up with something more simple. And this is how the name Common Cluj took birth, because it is written in a peculiar way. It is written C-O-M'-O-N. So it is also turning on the community. It's about the message, come on, do something, don't just stay. This way it went really well. Imagine that in the first year when we had really big budgets because of the Youth Capital year, we received more than 450 ideas from young people, small-scale ideas, less than 1,000 euro funding, for things they would like to do for their community. And the important thing was that first, they needed to have a team, so at least 3 people needed to form a team and come forward with at least one or maybe several proposals. Then it was very important that citizens of Cluj, of all ages, decided on which initiatives to get funding. So basically it was a public voting mechanism. It was done online, although we could discuss a lot if we had maybe some accessibility issues for those people who might not have access to the internet, although Cluj is pretty okay on this side. And this is the twitch in the whole process. We told young people, if you come forward with an idea and the citizens are voting for those ideas, you as a young team are also responsible for implementing the idea. We will give all the support we need. We will provide you help in communicating with the municipality if you need some specific approvals, or you need a location in the public space, or you need some help in organizing things. But you as young people are responsible to actually deliver the project. And I remember the mayor, he was already mayor back then. I remember the mayor at the press conference we organized after receiving these 450 applications. The press was asking him, okay, but what if some of the people will go away with the money? And then the mayor said two things. First, we should start from the fact that we should trust young people, that they are responsible, and if they propose an idea, they will implement that idea. And the second thing is, if there is an error of maybe 2% from all the initiatives, that shouldn't be a problem for the process, because the process is about also the big numbers. So for me, that was a very strong message coming from the municipality. And imagine that since then, we are still repeatedly doing this. So we are closing Come On Cluj version 2022 next week. We didn't have any problems on young people going away with the money. It's also important to know that they don't need to do financial reporting. So they are actually getting the money as an award. So they are getting the award. The only thing they need to do, because we also need to report back to the municipality, is to write a narrative report about what they did, some photos if they took it, but it is about the content and not the bureaucracy. And in the background, of course, in the relationship with the municipality, our role is also to make the process, to solve the process in a way that from the young people's perspective, the UX, the user experience, it is the most simple process ever. Because if young people need to do more bureaucracy than actually delivering some activities, it might get the wrong message. And our message from the municipality and from ourselves and the Youth Federation is, you just focus on your idea. We will help you get there. So it's working well. Now we are having, again, a 5-year planning. We did a thorough research on what was the impact of the program. It still have a lot of place to grow. We also are discussing with Tudor here to try to extend it to the metropolitan area, because for now it is just for the city. And you know, with young people, the boundary between the city and the next city is not there. So in the mental map of young people, the metropolitan area is the same place. They are moving around a lot. So let's see how we can manage it in the background with all the public administrations who are managing all the communities around the city of Cluj. So that's in short, on Come On Cluj especially.
Yeah, you mentioned something about trust, and it was one of the challenges of the entire AGORA project to get local stakeholders on hand with the approach and the vision of the project. So how was it in your case, in your approach? Was it easier to work with young people and involve them throughout the process? Or have there been some challenges? Because this is something that we faced, and your actions are quite successful in getting people involved. What was, in your opinion, the key element that built that trust for the young people to be involved?
Well, first of all, I think that the problem lies with us and not with them. Our problem, and I mean everybody aged probably above 30, is that we are already thinking in a more complex way. Young people need simple messages, they need to understand it in a simple way, and they need to understand from the first instance, because the attention span is also short, how they can do something, and explain it in a very simple way. I shouldn't be the one who explains them in a social media post how to do this, because my message will be complicated, will be not understood, it will be wrong. So we're working a lot, for example, with a lot of facilitators who are reaching out towards young people, communities of young people directly. We are working a lot with the Youth Federation and their connections and their member organizations who, again, spread out the message. And yes, in some cases, there are some young people from the organizations themselves who are forming an informal group and do initiatives. That's not a problem. But this is, I believe, how trust is created. And let me give you a very pragmatic example. Last year, there was one initiative which got enough votes from the public, which was about putting some devices before buildings in the city center, which would explain via sound what is the history of that building. This was proposed for people who have visual impairing, so they cannot see the building. And it was a kind of message that, okay, even if you don't see the building, but we will help you understand what do you have in front of you. And they submitted the request for putting these things in the public space. And they submitted to the municipality, and in, I don't know, 5 days' time, the municipality gave the answer that we will not approve your devices on the public space. And they called us completely panicked. We got rejected, but you told us it would be simple and everything. So what we did back then is that we reached out to the municipality, asking them, okay, could you help us understand why it was rejected? And the conclusion was that the problem was that the group of young people submitted the request to the wrong department. They submitted to the commercial and marketing department, which approves all the, I don't know, the Christmas market selling and everything. And from their perspective, it was something which couldn't be approved. And it took basically 45 minutes to solve the issue in the background. And then we got back to the young team and just told them, put back the same request, but please mention that it is for the other department, not the commercial department. And then the approval came out 1 day later. Now imagine if there wasn't this facilitation in the background, they would have left the whole process with a bad experience. And they would have said, well, we cannot approach the municipality, although it was just a technical glitch. And I think that this is one way to gain trust. We experts, decision makers, whoever, we should organize everything in the background in such a way that their experience gets as easy as possible. And yes, maybe if the experience is over, we can discuss openly, okay, by the way, do you know that in the background we managed to organize it like this and like that? Because in that case, it will be also the learning experience from the young people's side. Okay, sometimes maybe it's not easy, but if you manage to understand the other, the perspective of the other person, of the other institution, you will realize how you can actually solve the problem. And just as a final thought, I think that there are differences between cities and cities. Our experience with the municipality here is that you are actually open. The municipality from Cluj is open to understand it. Maybe sometimes the message doesn't go through from the first effort, but we need to go back for the second time, for the third time, and I also think that the institutional trust is created like this. And if we all put these trust relationships together, what I'm always saying that this is how you create ownership of the city, because ownership is not a material thing. I can have a sense of ownership of the city just feeling home here, feeling accepted, feeling listened to, feeling supported through different kind of initiatives. So I believe this is how the trust relationships can work between all the actors who are involved in such a process.
Okay, thanks a lot for your insight. And now shifting to Tudor. Tudor is part of one of the largest organizations in Cluj-Napoca, which is comprised from other small organization of students and other stakeholders, and they do and participate and implement lots of projects and program from the youth to the youth. So it's basically that the youth people from Cluj-Napoca are involved in all kinds of processes. And we would want to know now from Tudor a little bit of his experience in organizing one of the most cherished event of the local community. You can see he also wears it. It's Cluj Never Sleeps. And also about one of our most recent and quite successful program, which is called Fix Cluj, and it's like an innovation fund and experiment where young people generate ideas and they get mentorship and funding to implement them and actually transform them into real businesses. So Tudor, please give us a little bit of insight on these projects.
Thank you, Liviu, and hello everybody. First of all, I want to talk about the Youth Federation. Youth Federation is a structure like a youth council. We have 40 members, students, students organization, high school students organization, other youth organization, professional from the Hungarian community, and all of this type of organization, youth organization. It was born after the European Youth Capital. Also, me, I was one of the leaders of students' organization in the 2015 when the Cluj-Napoca was the European Youth Capital, and I was involved in the management team of the European Youth Capital. It was a project, one-year project. We worked together with Andras and with Pond Group and with the municipality in the co-management process. Actually, everything that we are doing in the city after the European Youth Capital, we will do in a co-management process. I think in 2015 we learned why it's important to work together, what it's important to do the projects and our initiative in this type of management type in a co-management process. Every stakeholder knows who's important to do, and also was a learning process. About Cluj Never Sleeps, Cluj Never Sleeps was one of the most important project of the European Youth Capital of 2015 European Youth Capital. It's a project about the one night of culture. It's one night of youth initiative. Actually, in the week in June, 21 of June, you know, it's the time when the day it's the longest day in the year, and okay, in that period actually we activate the night and the day, and we do a lot of cultural events for citizens, but doing by youth, and we promoted the young artists and other type of arts in the city, in Unity Square. Actually, we put the light on the youth artist in the Unity Square, and every year after 2015 we do this project. Actually, this is a t-shirt from last year, I think. We do also the project in the pandemic period, actually with the restriction, but we'll do. And what's very important in this project, it's in every year, it's something new, it's an experiment. We do other things, we activate other perspective of the culture. For example, we play with light, we play with music, we play with, I don't know, a lot of things of arts. Actually, in every year we do also something from the youth public policies. For example, we have some debates about, I don't know, youth consultative council, youth strategy, and other things. The mayors come in the middle of the night in the Unity Square, in the center of the city, and we have consultation with youth and youth organization. And I think that's a result of the European Youth Capital after the process of doing things in co-management. I think it was a learning process for everybody. About Fix Cluj, the founder of innovation and experiment, actually Andras lead the implementation process of Fix, but how I say, in Cluj, after 2015, we learned to work together with the municipality, with the Pond Group, like an experts, and also with the youth sector. And in every project, we are looking for more, also from another stakeholders. For example, in the Fix case, we work together also with the university ecosystem and also with the startups ecosystem. And in a process of co-creation, I think it was about 1 year working process of co-creation. We do this fixed program. How I say, it's a found of innovation and experiment for young people. Actually, the young people from Cluj-Napoca, from 16 to 26 years old, it's can propose an innovation idea. It's important to work in teams. Actually, they must to have a team, minimum two persons, and they propose innovation ideas from the community, business idea, but not only business as usual, can be also social innovation, social businesses. And the process was like an incubator, like an accelerator of ideas in a 3-step. And everything was happening by pitch. The young people, the teams comes and show us their ideas in a pitch, and we selected in every steps some teams that are going in the next step, and the bigger prizes was 50,000 euros for every teams to implement their ideas. I think it was an important investment in the youth ideas in the youth sector in Cluj-Napoca, and I'm sure it's a very good example. We don't know this type of project in this part of Europe. Actually, we are looking, but we know that it's something new, and I was part of the co-creation team, and also I was one of the members of the jury, and for me it was very, very nice experience to understand what actually the young people want to do in Cluj. We have 146 teams, I think. Yeah, that was actually we jury 30 days in the first step. We listen all the ideas, because, how I say, it was only a pitch, because we know that it's very important to understand actually what the young people want, not to put it in right, because every they can go to the, I don't know, to the consultant or something like this to text for them. But when you present, when you have a pitch, it's very hard to put something there that you don't know. And actually, in this kind of do things, we can show also the trust, because when the people talking about their idea, you can see and you can give trust in their projects. If we want to say something more, leave you.
Thank you, Tudor.
Okay.
It was great to hear from these experiences also. I don't have any more questions for you. However, if someone from the public has, Natalie has a question.
I just want to add one thought before you put into the question. Imagine that a team which comes into this funnel through Common does a one-off experience. Then they figure out something. They have the chance then to enter Fix. Their idea can become something permanent. And then when they come out of Fix, even if they are coming out in the first stage, second to the third, they can get an investment funding from because they are angel investors in the city. There is the startup ecosystem supporting them. So what I think that Cluj is trying to do here with young people is to provide the chance in all the steps for a young person and teams of young people especially to grow. And this is very important, because what also Tudor was mentioning, we don't yet know the impact. But if we keep going and keep doing this for 5 years, 10 years, most probably there will be a critical mass of young people who grow up who will practically change the city. It will be that simple, and we, the older ones back then, we will just benefit actually of how young people can reshape the city, be resilient, address all the challenges which will come towards the city. So this is what I wanted to add to this.
Okay, so first, thank you a lot for both of you. I think this is actually the right way to make city. So thank you. My question is about after a team wins, a little bit of the orga. Like, do you have a contract with them, and do they have like a limit in the time to actually provide with the activity? And how do you cope with the team after they win?
Should I say both for the both processes? And maybe you can complete. Okay, so with Come On, basically, if they get enough votes, every year we know how many initiatives we can support. So we draw a line. For those of you who make the threshold, we signed an award contract, which is basically about describing the idea. They propose, they have a description of the idea. It is written down into the contract, and they assume that they are receiving the award as a physical person, so they don't need to have an organization for this. A private person gets the money. And they have a deadline until usually end of November to actually implement the idea. Now, with all the bureaucracy, usually we can sign the contracts around May or June because budgets need to be approved, we need to submit the project, it needs to be approved by the local council. We want to improve this a lot. So pragmatically, in the case of Come On, they have around 6 months to implement the idea, usually starting from May, June, until the end of November. It is up to them when do they implement this idea, although usually when they propose the idea, they already know. So they have the time span, so they already know around which time they would like to implement it. And then the contractual obligation from their side is just to write a narrative report about what they did. Now, what is happening in the background, of course, because we are keeping a pragmatic relationship with them, is that we are asking them when the event is. We can send photographers there. Sometimes it's a short movie created. We ask them if they need any kind of help in a technical way or, again, approvers from municipalities or other institutions. So it's a kind of working relationship which is also beyond the contract. But technically, the legal framework is an award contract, which from the municipality's perspective, it is a cost which can be reported. So they allow in the local NGO funding, we get the money as an NGO, and we give them to the young people. From the municipality side, it is technically possible to report a cost which is an award if there is a regulation and there is a process which is clear and transparent about how the award is given. Fix is an even better innovation because Fix is the first instance when the municipality in the first 2 rounds gave money directly to the teams. So there wasn't any intermediary. Dalila had a lot of fights with the legal department here to convince them that it is technically possible. But it worked like this. 40 teams got 3,000 euros in the first round. So the jury selected 40 teams who got a first award. For this, the teams didn't need to have an organization yet. The money was basically, if there was a team of 5 people, the money, the 3,000 euros were distributed in 5 pieces, and each of them got 600 euros. I don't know any instance where they didn't put the money together to work on the idea further. There was then a 3 months training mentorship process. Then they came back to the jury. Out of the 40, 10 teams were selected to get 12,000 more euros. Again, it was an award contract. In this case, it was a combination. Partially, it was funded by the municipality, but we also got some money from the sponsorships and from international organizations. So the fixed fund, the 650,000 euros from the first year, it was a mix of money coming from different places, although it wasn't in one place at all because distribution, it's a complicated thing. But the award was given directly to young people in the second round. Again, there was a mentorship of 2 months. And then out of those 10, 4 teams were selected for the third round of funding of 35,000 euros. This is how the 50,000 came up, so 3 plus 12 plus 35. And in that case, they had 2 months to create a company. So if they already had a company, it was fine. If they didn't, they got 2 months to create a company. Again, if they needed any kind of legal help, how to register it and everything, it was okay, and the final round of funding was given to the company already, so not to the members of the teams, but technically we assumed that the team is transformed into a registered private entity. So it was working like this. My surprise and our surprise was still that we actually managed to get directly from the treasury account of the municipality support to teams of young people who proposed the business idea, which was evaluated by an independent jury, where the municipality said that the municipality itself didn't want to take part in the decision, because it's a matter of principle. We have this principle in FIX: no person should have two roles. So if you're a donor, you should be a donor. If you're a jury member, you should be a jury member. If you're an executive team, you cannot be anything else, because this way we believe it is correct. And it is, again, something as a transparent message towards young people: trust the process, because we really make it in a way for you to be as easy as possible, but also as transparent and as fair as possible. Yeah, go on.
What's important actually in this vision is that we know that the city needs youth. Every city, I think it's important to know that it needs youth. If you needs youth in your city, it's important to learn how to work with them and to don't do bureaucracy and other things. That's undersay. It's complicated what actually we do, but it's important what the result is. To have very simple process, no bureaucratic when you work with youths. The young people in this area, after the millionaires, the Z generation, I think it's correct. They are digital one. They are, for example, European bird, and for them it's very important to do simple things, simple procedure, no bureaucratic things. And what's in the back, it's okay. It's maybe hard. It's complicated, but that's the vision, to deliver simple things for the youth.
We got one feedback from them, from multiple teams, is that they felt more responsible to implement their ideas because we weren't asking them financial reports. So it completely backfired in a good way, because they realized that some people, some donors, jury members, the public in the case of the participatory budgeting, they trusted them that they will be able to implement the idea. And they felt this. They were constantly asking us, really, you don't ask us a financial report? No, focus on the idea. And because of this, they really felt responsible to actually deliver, because they were trusted with something, with money in this specific instance, to actually do that thing. So it was a very, very, very interesting feedback which we got from them.
Also in Camono and also in FIX, I think it's also a new process of learning and a new thing to think outside the box, because the schools, the society say we need reports. You need actually for us it's important to dream first, to see what's your vision, what do you want to do, not the bureaucracy things, because actually in the school system, in the society generally, I say I want to do to go to the moon, and the people say you can't. Let's change the vision. Let's change the things that we are doing. Let's focus on the results, what we want to do, not the process. Actually, the process is important, not the bureaucracy and what we can't do. I think if you want to do innovation, you must to break the world, to break everything, because I don't know, in the Uber or other innovative ideas, they broke the rules.
Okay, I have another question. After the companies are made and after they deliver the ideas, what happened with the companies? Are they still go on and they are engaging? So you're actually funding also startups out of this idea?
Yeah, because we already did one edition. They are still part of a monitoring period of 12 months until which they cannot sell the company, or if they are selling the company through an exit, this is a typical startup terminology, if they are selling the company, they need to give us back the final amount of funding. But this only for, I think, for the first year. Basically, all the coordinators and the initiators in FIX told that this is a program which assumes that a lot of teams and even companies might fail, because the startup idea is that you might actually fail. So from this perspective, this is also considered, and this is why it's important that in the first stages it is given as an award. It's not given as a grant, because if it's given as a grant, it might attract other kind of obligations. But what the message is, and I think that the municipality was very much inspired also from something Tel Aviv does the same way, is that you need to have a critical mass of young people and business ideas which are at the bottom level, and it's working like a pyramid. At the bottom level, private investors are not yet interested in investing in ideas because they are not well developed yet. So you need somebody who is able to provide that very baseline support at the beginning, which brings up those teams who are prepared to succeed. If they are not prepared to succeed, this is still a learning process. This is why, besides the funding, the mentorship and the training and the workshops are so important, because they might realize, first of all, we had teams which failed, they fell apart, because they realized they cannot work together. That's a learning process. What we don't know yet is how this will what will be the impact on long term. So we did a lot of monitoring. We had an external company actually helping us in monitoring the whole process. We have a lot of data, feedbacks about perceptions, about formats and everything. But we still don't have the long picture, the long-term aspect. So what we will keep doing, and this is why I really like the fact that somehow the ecosystem and the donors told to each other that they want to support this process at least for 10 more years, because some things you will start to see after 5 years. Some things you will start to see after 3 years. There are some of the teams, Manuscrito, for example, is one of the success stories. They are a group of students from the technical university, technical and the social sciences universities, or more or less, UBB has a lot of things. So the two biggest universities. And they are developing an app which helps children learn handwriting. And they are winning all the awards. I still don't know if they will succeed as a startup, but the idea is really good. They figured out how the team can work further. And now probably they are at the level where investors, private investors, start to get interested in their idea, because the idea is very good. The team is resilient. But still, let's see if they become a startup or not. But it's part of the story. And because we took one of their initiatives, Tudor, to a conference in Portugal, he gave us this feedback that it is, for them, it was so vital that they got the first push. Because if nobody would have gave them the first push, they might not have made the follow-up steps. So you never know where this unicorn might turn up. And all the other business ideas which might not become the billion-dollar startup, they are as essential as the others, because they might solve some local issue, which is maybe not a huge global business idea, but which will have an impact here in the park or in one of the neighborhoods, or a social issue which will be solved. So I personally am very curious how this will evolve, because we don't know. We are just starting to understand some of the dynamics which are happening in the background.
Also, when you talk about social innovation, because it's a fund of social innovation, yeah, some of ideas maybe will be an unicorn and will be global, but some of them maybe they are resolve some problem of the local things. We don't know. I think that's very, very interesting, because actually you can come with everything, every idea. If it's something innovator there, if it's something good, and the jury have trust in your idea, will have you have the prize, the money. And also, what I think is very important in the first and the second steps, you have a prize, yeah, and you can do everything with that money. I don't know, if you need a computer, you will buy a computer. If you need a mentor or to go in the European conference, or I don't know, in the Silicon Valley to to present your idea, you can use the money to do this. That's actually one of the objective, that we don't put some limits on what you do with the money, because we don't know. In this type of project, social innovation one, we don't know what's important for you. And I'm sure, yeah, in 5 years at least, we can see what's actually happening with the fund. The feedback of the youth people, it's very, very good. I'm looking actually in every month what's happened with the ideas. I was actually now, last week I think, I was involved in one of the finalist team. They actually present some new of their products. They do books for childs, personal books for childs. They are present the new books in an event inclusion. It was very, very interesting what's happening there with childs, with pets, dogs and cats. It was a family event, and yeah, it was a very interesting thing to do social innovation in this type of community.
Thank you.
If there's any other question from the room, the last one. If not, we jump to conclusions. No more questions. So thanks a lot for these insightful experiences. Hopefully, some of these projects or programs might actually aid you in the implementation of similar cases in your cities. If you need extra information, we can always connect you together with Andras and with Tudor, and of course we can be there together for you if you perhaps want to have similar participatory approaches. With this, we conclude our roundtable with local stakeholders, and this also is the formal ending to our final conference. Thanks again for being here. Now we go back to lunch, which is ready, and we can have there the last informal greetings of the season, and then everyone is free to explore the city.
Before lunch, I know that this is not a well-received intervention before lunch, but I want also only to thank you all and every one of you for being here. And I want to tell you one of my favorite quotes that I think that applies here for our consortium, because we just, let's say, tried again, and we are writing together Agora 2.0. So my favorite quote says this: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And this is what we are doing here. And I want to thank you very much for your trust and for your effort and your work. Okay, so let's enjoy our lunch, and thank you very much.
So guys, please, everyone here in the front for the informal ending. Hannah, Hannah, Daniela, come on in the front. Everyone here.